everybody. Welcome to the fifth episode of FIC F If I Know. It's an event FAQ podcast for the times that we live in. My name is Andrea Lyons. I'm your host, and I'm so glad to have you join us today. You're here. So glad you're here. Okay, so I haven't seen you all in a while because last week, what was I up to? Oh my gosh. Last week I spent about 27 hours in filming. That's just filming. And then we had live broadcast. There was about 8 hours of live broadcast. And then there was something else. And we did a holiday car parade. That was so fun, super fun. So nobody got out of their cars. You just decorated your car. They went into a circle so people could see each other's cars of the cars they decorated. It was a bunch of fun, though. Fun. So that's what we've been up to. So the premise of the show, FIC, F if I know, is basically I'm going to take 10 minutes. And I'm going to go through folks' questions that they've submitted. I'd like to thank producer Wesam for pulling everything together, pulling this show together. We tried to do a show last week, and we tried to be really cool and do it live while on set at one of our places that we were filming. Nope, it ain't work. That was too much. It was too hard to remain focused in the filming and then also try to do a live show at the same time. So, so here I am. But we actually did record content from one of our shoots last week. So we're actually gonna play that. Again, I'm Andrea. I'm the CEO of All About Presentation. It's All About Presentation. For folks who don't know, it's a multi-million-dollar event company that I founded in 2007. And as many dollars as I've made probably twice that many mistakes. So that's the name of the podcast, F if I know, because it's one of my favorite answers to give sometimes, but I've learned a lot along the way. And hopefully I can be inspiration to anyone that if I can do it after all the many tragic mistakes that I've made and continue to make in some cases, because we're human, then that means you can do it too. So if you have a dream, go after it. Ooh, I cannot wait for upcoming Shiz and Giggles. I got to shout out the other podcasts or video blogs, vlogs. I don't know. The young people in here in this office keep me hip. Check out Shiz and Giggles on Fridays at 4. Okay. Shiz and Giggles, Fridays at 4. I'm going to be doing it. I think it's either this Friday. Yeah, I think it's this Friday where I'm going to be talking about finishing strong. You got to finish strong. We have about couple weeks left in the year. So we'll talk about finishing strong and what that means on Friday. But today we are talking about something virtual, and we're talking about exclusivity and still kind of keeping a VIP touch for things that are virtual, which can be hard to do. So I'm going to get through as many questions as I can, but I always like to start off with something fun. So the fun thing this week is, I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Oxford folks, Oxford Dictionary, Oxford Languages folks, they released their 2020 words of the year, and their words they usually have a word of the year, but 2020 has had so many that they couldn't decide on one. And so what they did is they kind of highlighted the top ones for each month. So on that list is like pandemic, super spreader, Black Lives Matter, and there was a couple other ones on the list. They're like ones you could guess. Of course, COVID, of course, coronavirus is the word that actually was the most frequented during 1 month. Oh, mail-in, like mail-in ballots, mail-in voting. That was in August. That was the like number one word in August. So there's several. I wanted to add to the list. So here's my 2 that I felt were missing. 3 maybe that I felt were missing. Unprecedented. I mean, if I didn't hear one leader and after the other say unprecedented times, I of course too said it because everyone else said it. So unprecedented would be one I'd add to the list. Another one is pivot, right? How to pivot. So that's that was a huge one. Pivot, big word of the year. And then the last one that it's kind of a phrase I would say is let me share my screen. I mean, how many times have you been on a WebEx, a Zoom, a Teams, any of pick a platform and a Hangout or a Meet, Google Meet, and you heard someone say, let me share my screen. Okay. So, by the way, word to the wise. So, here's how you do it. I could do it in all the platforms, but I'll just pick Zoom because that seems to be the one that the majority of people in all industries are familiar with. So, in Zoom, you share your screen down at the bottom, right? Like you click share screen button. Let me tell you something that's kind of a cool little trick. Once you start sharing your screen, there's an option that comes up in the toolbar that allows you to pause sharing and resume sharing. So if you need to switch between things and so that you don't like have people seeing your email as you're switching between screens, or they're not following your mouse and getting distracted by what you're doing on your screen, you actually can pause the share and then click to another tab and then resume the share. So look out for those two buttons on your Zoom toolbar. Okay, that'll help. And also, please stop saying, let me share my screen. All right. So, or you have to say, can everyone see this? That's the best one I like, especially in like a webinar when no one can talk back, So just, you trust me, all speakers everywhere, if you're doing a webinar or something where you're not visibly able to connect with the audience visually, like you don't see their screens and all of that. And even if you are, you can't see them. Don't say, can everyone see my screen? Okay. I can tell you this about the virtual crew everywhere on planet Earth. If they can't see your screen, trust me, they will let you know right away. So just get that out of your lexicon. Okay. All right. Now let's get started. All right. So questions for today. Wait, I got to start my timer. Timer. All right. My papers are out of order. Jeez. Blame the producer. Just kidding. She's fabulous. Okay. All right. So put that away. Questions. All right. Question number 1. Okay. Apple's announcement events have been exclusive, but they also utilize technology. Oh, I didn't start my timer. Okay, there it is. All right. And go. Okay. Apple's events have always been exclusive, but they also utilize technology to make it open to the public. Exclusive events, when in person, have certain elements that kind of make it feel more VIP. The question is, what are the kind of activities that event leaders can come up with that can replace activities or features that feel VIP and safe, whether it is in person or virtual? Okay. Couple of activities that, one, don't invite everybody. That's what exclusivity means, right? Like not everybody knows about it. So you could make it anything invitation only, or for a subset of people. We've done it where we've had really large events, virtual. And I'm just gonna go virtual because, man, it's gonna be a while before we go fully in person and have enough to even call it VIP, So let's talk about VIP for virtual. So one of the things that we've done recently for one of our events is we had an event where it was about, I don't know, it was a small crew, maybe about 300 folks in on the event. But of that 300, 25 to 30 had a very exclusive experience. Let me tell you how cool it was. So one of the things we did was we invited them backstage. So we have a number of platforms that we use that are very forward facing, meaning You log in, you register for an event, and then you get it sent a link of where to go to view the platform. Okay. So when you're viewing the platform, that does not mean you're necessarily where the speakers are located, okay, or our presenters. So we created a backstage experience where a certain subset of that 300, we invited them to backstage where we keep all the speakers before they get shown onto the screen. And they actually got to watch the event backstage as if they were a speaker. In addition, because they were backstage, they got to communicate with all the speakers. So we thought that was a really cool way to create a backstage experience for them. So that's just one idea that you can take with you. I got to keep going. Living in a first, and there's others. I get stuck. This is where it gets hard because I want to keep going on my ideas, but I got to keep going on the questions. All right, living in a 21st century or living in the 21st century with new technology coming out every day, it means there's always a challenge to sharpen soft and technical skills, like people skills, communication skills, attitudes, about working with technical skills. The question is, what are some new technologies to be on the lookout for as a planner in order to best serve clients? How much, ooh, how much should I expect my event planner to know about technology? Okay, I feel like those are two different questions that the producer wants me to answer into one. I'm going to split it apart and I'm going to answer the one I want. How much should I expect my event planner to know about technology? I literally had this yesterday. We have I'll call him a prospect, a potential client. We had a sales meeting yesterday. And she said, we're very accustomed to doing X particular event, and we've done it for over 15 years. We have an event company that we work with for that in-person event. My thought is, or my concern is, I don't think that they are as comfortable in the virtual environment to produce our virtual event for 2021. And I said, that's a very interesting comment. Now, that's not the first time I've heard that. So I've heard a lot of people say that. So here's I'm super excited to address the question of how much should I expect my event planner to know about technology? And let me address it in this way. I think that sometimes we can try to find unicorns in people, no matter how you hire them. If you're hiring them as a contractor, if you're hiring them as an employee, if you're hiring them just, as your assistant, it doesn't matter what the job is. Sometimes we can expect things that are kind of dynamically opposed to each other, but we want one person to have all of the characteristics. So here's what I would say to that. I would say, I think that you have to let your event planner guide you into how comfortable they are. Okay. So rather than the other way around, we've had people who assume, I'll give you an example in our world is we have people that assume we do weddings, and we don't do a whole lot of weddings. I have to hire a wedding planner. Actually, if I were going to do a wedding, I would actually hire an on-staff wedding planner in order to do weddings. So we just don't do them. And I don't feel comfortable doing them because that's not my bread and butter. It's not what I'm an expert at. And so I would hope that if you don't assume that your event planner that you use for the in-person event may not have that same skill set. And you need to be very honest and frank with each other about how comfortable each of you are with going virtual, because you're talking about a technology skill set, and then you're talking about a logistics skill set, or maybe even a customer service skill set and a technology skill set. They just sometimes just don't always go together. And so you start finding that you have to find very unique people that can make both of those happen. So I'm suffering from it now. We are actively trying to recruit for employment So if you are interested in a job, email WeSam at allaboutpresentation.com, WESSAM at allaboutpresentation.com. Send her your resume. But we're actively trying to find somebody who has, or people who have project management experience, but also are tech savvy enough to work in our world. And those sometimes just don't go together. So I think you shouldn't have an expectation is the short answer to that question. I think I got time for one, maybe two more. Okay. Don't have an expectation, by the way, is that that's my answer. Don't have an expectation. Okay, phones are mini computers nowadays with all of this technology at our fingertips, great cameras, and more. Developers are coming up with great ways to use technology at events. The question is, what recommendations do you have on how to best promote the use of new technologies with attendees? Oh, man. Okay. So, one of the things that's been really cool about this at-home world, which I think that was one of the words, the Oxford words was remote working, or working remote was one of the Oxford ones for 2020 as well. But one of the things that it's opened up in the technology space is that some of these technologies have been a part of our universe all along. But as more people put a spotlight onto them, we're using them in very, very different ways. So I know a lot of people, and so many of you have probably done this already. You've done the wine flights and the beer flights or tastings for each of those. You probably have done like the artist drawings, where you have some sort of event or meeting, and artist starts with a drawing, and then by the end of the meeting they have a drawing that they usually give away as a door prize or something, or a painting that usually is given away as a door prize. If you haven't done that, that's pretty cool too. You should consider doing that one. That one's fun. There are virtual photo booths. Have you all done that? That's really, really fun too, where you take it with your cellular device and it kind of photoshops your picture, and then you can post it to whatever medium, and you could put the event logo on it, all the event stuff to give it the look and feel of the event that you're attending. But it's still like a virtual photo booth. But there's so many technologies that existed before that we just haven't used them in the event space as much. Oh, we did a magic show the other day. That I'll tell you, maybe it was just the one I attended. I don't know. I'd have to do it again to see if I liked it. You know what I mean? Because the magic show is cool, but I also feel like you can trick people better when, like, the whole time I was thinking, I feel like you can't see my hand over here. This is my hand. I do like this. It's gone, right? So, I mean, on a screen, it's kind of hard for me to like get really excited about a magic trick. So what I did see that was cool is one guy, he said, he pulled a card out. And then the person on the screen, one of the attendees said, well, all right, here's how it worked. The magician said, pick a card, any card. And he held up a bunch of cards on the screen facing that person. The person picked a card. They wrote it down. Okay. They wrote down the card that they picked. All right. So then he does something 1, 2, 3 magic trick. And then he holds a card and keeps the card in front of the camera like the whole time. So like pretend there's a card here. So he kept the card the whole time. And then he said, all right, I'm going to turn it to my head, whatever. And I'm going to guess your card that you picked. Right. Okay. So they had a conversation and he was like, where are you from? Yada, yada, yada. And he kept the card here the whole time. Right. Something happened in there because I don't know what it was, but the person the magician got to what the card was. He's like, it's a 3 of diamonds. I'm going to guess it's 3 of diamonds. And then the person held up their paper and it's like 3 of diamonds on it. Right. And then he flipped the card around. There's a 3 of diamonds. I don't know how he did that. So that was kind of impressive, but still I was a little bit skeptical just all the way around. So I'd have to see it again. I'd have to see the whole thing again to go, I love it. All right, last question. Going back to the success of events and measuring the success of events, new technologies offer managers the data and insights needed to help measure the success and goals for their events. The question is, what should I think about when choosing between platforms so I could ensure technology will provide me with more meaningful data? Is there data one platform offers that others don't? Great question. So, again, I hate to keep saying this, but the beauty of virtual events is that you can track everybody's everything online to the point where it's really, really scary. So, you can track what can you track? I could track when most platforms offer this, which attendee registered and which one actually attended the event. They can track, most platforms can track which session the attendee went to, if you have sessions or tracks or that sort of thing, rooms. They can track which rooms you went to. Many of them can track how long you were in a particular session, meaning like how, if the window was the active window in your browser, and for how long that was the active window in your browser. A lot of them, and you need that for continuing education units for sure. A lot of them can track, what else? What's another one? Oh, like how many people view a video or something. So, like, say you have a sponsor and that sponsor has a video time frame. I could go back and tell a sponsor how many people viewed their video or engaged with their video or booth, their virtual booth. How many clicks did they get? How many people like saw their video, but how many clicks did they get afterwards? We could tell them that. Some platforms, be careful, but some platforms can tell you where you went after you attended the event. So let's say if you were in the same window that the event was in, it's being displayed in, and then you go to Facebook afterwards, you type, I'm done with this, I'm going to Facebook. It could tell you where you went afterwards. So that's a bit creepy. Also kind of cool, I guess. If you want to see what actions people did immediately after a session or event, did they go outside the platform? What did they do next? So just something to keep in mind. And I think that's it. Well, maybe I can do one more. Apple and Samsung, yada, yada, yada. It's just slowing, transitioning back to what are some amenities? Okay, so this is about what are some amenities that may not be needed anymore once we go back to in-person events. Is there still a value to photographers and videographers despite technology, which allows us to snap a high-quality photo in an instant or record a 4K video on our phones? The short answer is yes. You still have to know how to work it, right? So there's a couple things that go with that. One, do you know how to work your 4K on your phone? They have like all the options. They have all that stuff that I don't know what it means. ISO balance or white balance, a bunch of letters that I don't know what they mean. But also, is that the thing you want to be your job for an event? Like, do you want to be the picture taker? Do you want to be the video person at your event? No, there's my favorite question that one of my coaches, my executive coaches, always asks me. He says, Andrea, there's always a difference between what you can do and what you should do. And I said, man, that is so true. There's a lot of things I can do, but should I be doing them? Probably not. It probably should be somebody else. So I'm going to end with that. So I'm going to close. If you have any questions, send them to Andrea at aap.events. That's Andrea at aap.events. That's our email address. Follow us on the social medias. We are at All About Presentation on Instagram and Facebook, and we are at VA Event Planner on Twitter. If you like this video, share with your friends. Share. We'd love to have them join us for the next time. And once again, we will see you here next Wednesday, I think. Yeah. Next Wednesday, 2:00, right here. So we'll see you then for F If I Know with me, Andrea. I'm your host. I can't wait to see you again. Also, email me if you have questions, comments. I'm answering them for free. I usually charge people if they want to do a consultation. I normally charge people if they want to do a consultation. So if you email them to me, email your questions to me, Andrea at aap.events. I will answer them for free for you on the air. Okay, bye everybody. So good to see you. Have a great rest of your week.